morning. My name is Arina Grossu, and I'm the director of the Center for Human Dignity at Family Research Council. We're standing here today because today is the day when abortionist Leroy Carhart from Germantown, Maryland, our backyard, is scheduled to appear before the House Select Panel on infant lives. Carhart is listed as one of the worst offenders in the U.S. abortion industry by abortiondocs.org and has a track record of hurting and killing women in botched abortions and breaking the law, in addition to the countless children he has killed in his abortion business, many of them old enough to survive outside the womb. According to an article published this past March, 12 medical emergencies involving Carhart have been documented since 2012, 4 of them within the past 4 months. These emergencies were all abortion-related complications, ranging from hemorrhaging to incomplete abortion, to the tragic death of 29-year-old Jennifer Morbelli, who died after getting a 3rd trimester abortion at Carhart's Maryland facility in February 2013. Morbelli's family reported that Carhart was unreachable after performing the abortion at 33 weeks of gestation, and his failure to provide follow-up care is indefensible. The autopsy report made clear that her abortion was the direct cause of her death. Carhart was also the abortionist responsible for another death back in Wichita, Kansas in January 2005. This time, the victim was 19-year-old Down syndrome patient Kristen Gilbert, who had been sexually assaulted the year before. Sources suggest that due to the severity of her Down syndrome, Kristen most likely could not have consented to either the sexual activity or the abortion. Additionally, Kansas law at the time prohibited post-viability abortions unless a second doctor, who is not affiliated with the abortion center, was there. According to Operation Rescue, it is suspected that Carhart violated this law, thus adding to his extensive record of illegality and preying on vulnerable women, especially women with Down syndrome. Carhart is a threat to the health and safety of women and children. Complaints have been filed against Carhart and his practices in Kansas, Nebraska, and Maryland for such offenses as illegal post-viability abortions, unlicensed employees performing medical duties for which they were unqualified, falsification of gestation of the babies, dried blood on surgical instruments, drug control violations, and the illegal dumping of biohazardous waste and patient records. Leroy Carhart has not had hospital admitting privileges anywhere, including Maryland, where he currently practices. He has been practicing in Maryland and in his home state of Nebraska when it was banned as a risky late-term abortion, for which he has become so infamous. We are grateful to the Select Panel for subpoenaing Leroy Carhart in lieu of the information that was given out back last summer by the Center for Medical Progress, videos showing the sale and trafficking of baby body parts and infants born alive. I hope that he fully cooperates with the Select Panel. If not, he will most likely face contempt of Congress. Carhart has been asked to hand over all of his financial statements relating to the provision of abortion services in the last 6 years, documentation of his medical licensing and history of disciplinary action taken against him. Of particular interest to the Select Panel is documentation of the incidents of infants born alive in his abortion center during his late-term abortions and how the situation was handled. He has been directed to provide proof of whether equipment or staff was on hand for providing neonatal care to these infants born alive, whether a death certificate or a referral to a funeral home was prepared, and how deceased infants were disposed of. Additionally, Carhart is instructed to produce all documents relating to the sale of baby body parts, including how or whether patient consent was obtained, proof of compliance with IRB protocol, documentations of costs and payments related to the transfer of baby body parts. We are here to bring light the injustices that women and children have suffered at the hands of Leroy Carhart, We are here because the lives of Jennifer Morbelli, Kristen Gilbert, and the many women he has hurt, they matter. We are here to speak for the many children who are not even given the first breath to speak for themselves. And tragically, some of them may even have taken their first breath in his center before their young lives were snuffed out. For this practice, which late-term abortionists like Carhart must surely have encountered, we must pass the Born Alive Survivors Protection Act, sponsored by Senator Ben Sasse. Although the Born Alive Infants Protection Act was passed in 2002, the current law lacks concrete ways to stop abortionists like Carhart from killing, harvesting organs, and denying medical care to infants born alive. This common sense bill requires that babies born alive after an attempted abortion be given immediate care at a hospital, and it requires that any violations be reported to state and federal agencies. This bill gives teeth to the current federal law so that abortionists like Carhart are held accountable for killing babies born alive and or harvesting their baby body parts. Born alive Americans after an attempted abortion are already recognized as persons under the law. This bill will ensure that they will be offered the full protection of our laws and the best of medical care. Thank you for your witness, diligence, steadfastness outside of Carhart's abortion center, daily and weekly. I've heard that 320 babies have been saved by people who have stayed out there praying and talking to the women. Thank you for all the women, for all the prayers for him and for all the women who are unfortunate enough to walk through his doors. We must continue to pray for Carhart, that he may come to a full realization of the wrongdoing and that he may repent. We must also continue to shine a light on the dark practices of his abortion center and others who operate like him and put them out of business and in jail for hurting women and children in our communities. We also need to support the select panel as they continue to investigate Carhart, Planned Parenthood, the abortion industry, and its trafficking of aborted baby body parts in America. We must pass the Born Alive Survivors Protection Act and ensure that it is enforced. Pass the 20-week ban. That way no late-term abortions will happen in America. And the abortion center regulations to protect women from unscrupulous abortionists like Carhart. Thank you so much for your time.